So, what the hell is that? Oh, it's the sticker. Yeah, this is how professional I am. I'm amazing when it comes to this stuff. I've got like professional equipment. It's awesome. So, right now it's March 9th, 2020. Right now it's March 9th, 2022. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way I do, but it seems like I found out coronavirus was coming because my wife's an insider. She's a nurse practitioner that specializes in respiratory. And we found out about coronavirus in January of 2020. Like, we knew it was coming early January of 2020. And it feels like the world has just gotten crazier since that day. And here we are. There's a war in Europe, a big one. I don't know how many of the numbers I believe. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not even trying to predict this. This is insanity. The Ukrainians are absolute madmen and women. I am glad we are not fighting them. They make movies about this shit thousands of years later. Like, they are David versus Goliath, and they are holding on beyond all reasonable expectation of hope. They are terrifying and magnificent, and I just hope sincerely from the bottom of my heart that they can find some kind of common ground with Russia to end this shit on, because this is insane. We have a nuclear armed power. Russia, they have 6,000 plus nuclear weapons, and they 100%, I've had conversations with motherfuckers who don't think they can do it. They can deliver those weapons, not all 6,000 of them, but they can definitely deliver a few thousand of them to every single major American city there is. That has never been questioned. This could affect you like that. And by affect you, I mean probably end you. I remember the end of the Cold War. I was getting old enough to understand what was going on when things were starting to get really fucking tense. Terminator scared the hell out of me. It really did. I remember vividly packing canned food into a backpack because I was a latchkey kid and I had the news and I was old enough to understand what was going on when the Soviet Union truly started to collapse. And I remember packing food into a backpack and eyeing the neighbor's Colbert. They had this big ass Colbert under their driveway because that's where I was going to go. We had tornado shelters. We had a basement. And that was the closest thing I could get into until I could get out and get into a shelter that was down the road a bit. Never wanted to live that reality again. I got a little taste of it back, if you remember the I have a bigger button fiasco of late 2017, early 2018. I was about 700 miles south of North Korea when that was happening. Our intel guys pulled us into a room and they told us we were not going home. That's how serious that was. It was, you're on a one-way trip. You're never going back. This is going to happen and you're all going to die. I never wanted my family to have to experience that. And obviously that thing in 2018 didn't happen, thank God. Let's hope this doesn't escalate. It's horrible. This is horrible. Fuck Russia. Fuck Putin. Fuck Putin more than fuck Russia. I understand. I do understand the geopolitics behind this. But this is unnecessary. It's dangerous. Russia's holding a sword of Damocles over our head. Well, we got a sword of Damocles right over their head. Let's not forget that we will all go together when we go. Um, everyone's just inching up toward that line to see how close they can get without actually going over it. And I'm really scared that somebody's going to go over it. And if it does, it's going to happen really, 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 really fucking fast, because that's how every model for this goes down. That fast. 30, 40 minutes. And the decision chains get made and it's over. And there's no self-destruct button, guys. There's no, that's all bullshit. That's Hollywood. Once the order is given, it cannot be ungiven. Once the missiles leave the silos, once the bombers go past that point of no recall, there's no calling them back. It's over. The machine is at play. We should be scared. Everyone should be scared. That doesn't mean we back down. That doesn't mean kowtow to Russia. That doesn't mean that we go to appeasement, but you should be fucking terrified right now. Last I heard, there's been some noise from Ukraine that, hey, maybe we'll recognize these regions and, you know, maybe we won't join NATO. And there's been some noise from Russia about, hey, maybe we're not really having to have regime change. So let's hope that they can meet and we can stop killing. They can stop killing each other, because war's bad, guys. I don't know how to say it. My whole life has been war. War is bad. We don't need war. War will not fix our problems. War will compound our problems. Regardless of what anybody's lied to you and told you, war is not good for the economy. War was good for the pre-World War II economy because we didn't get bombed and we sold a bunch of weapons over there. It's not... Modern wars don't last years. Modern occupations last years. Modern civil wars last years. Modern war between two state actors, they're not going to last years. Everybody studied Rommel. Everybody studied Hitler, and we all have a lot of technology and weapons. They're just not going to last. You fight with what you bring to the field on day one, and if that's not enough, you're probably going to have to stop, because if you lose too much of it, it takes too long to get it back. And it's too expensive. War is destabilizing. And the world's been crazy for the past couple of years. Anyway, the economy's doing some weird shit. Guys, I don't know if any of y'all remember 2008, but there was a feeling before 2008 that just shit was wrong. Look at the housing market. Look at inflation. Look at what's going on in our economy, and this feels wrong. But I just kind of want to focus on, well, world events, state of the world today. I mean, the economy's shit. We instigated a war in Europe, and we're backing the right side. But while we're backing the right side, we should be heavily involved in trying to de-escalate this thing and get it stopped, because it could get out of hand in a bad way. And if it does get out of hand, it can get out of hand fast. I was looking at this deal with Poland yesterday, and I get it, man. I know a lot of people, you know. First of all, if you're a keyboard warrior, I'm a tough guy. Well, congratulations, motherfucker, because I saw a lot of you guys in 2018, and you weren't there. You're here now. Whether you believe it or not, whether you realize it or not, you're here right now, because this could be here in the United States. This could go from it's a hybrid war. It's not even a proxy war. Russia is fighting our guy that we're supplying and we're backing openly. Openly. The only thing we're not talking about are the, I'm certain, advisors we have going in this volunteer force to train up the Ukrainian military at home. We have people specifically to do that. That is their job. If they're not there, we're wasting our tax dollars. This could go from a hybrid war to a straight-up confrontation between the United States and Russia that fast. It could happen today, it could happen tomorrow, it could happen next week. And I get this thing with Poland. They don't want to pick up a bunch of MiGs, fly out of their air base, and deliver them to Ukraine, because we announced that we're giving them to Ukraine. Kind of have to, because if the Polish Air Force suddenly came across the line and the Russians saw it, they're going to shoot them down. And then probably missile that base. And that's what Poland's afraid of, is just because it's Ukrainian pilots picking up the planes and flying over the border doesn't mean that Russia's not going to take that as, well, you just got way too into this war, and attack them while they're on the ground. So this is a dangerous thing. This is a huge, this is not some anti-tank missiles that you slip in across the border in the night. These are big pieces of military hardware that we're transferring into Russia. And I understand why the Poles don't want to take off from their bases and do it, because they are opening the door to attack. An attack on one is an attack on all. If that was to happen, if Russia was to be like, fuck that, ballistic missile the base, saying, hey, we're not going to, these are Ukrainian assets now because they're being transferred, and before they can get picked up, we're going to hit them with our Iskandars. Guess what? An attack on one is an attack on all. Now NATO's in this war. Where's the line between this becoming the absolute sum of all fears? I don't know. A lot of people have made some speculations. I don't know. I do not think Putin right now is a rational actor. I don't think he's insane, but I think he's isolated. I think he's made a bad decision. I think the decision has not gone the way he thought it was going to go. It didn't go the way I thought it was going to go either. Right? Like, I thought the Ukrainians were going to get fucking curb stomped and that this was going to turn into an occupation. Which it will if they lose. And God help Russia. I mean, how are you going to occupy these people? They're not going to quit. If you think these people are going to lay down their arms because you install a puppet government, motherfucker, you've been to Afghanistan. You know what that was like. They're not going to stop. You're fighting an entire fucking country if you're Russia. But I understand where Poland's coming from, because that escalation, that preemptive strike to stop the transfer of hardware, to destroy the Ukrainian assets, because the moment that we're transferring them, they are now Ukrainian assets. They are going to Ukraine. They're Ukrainian weapons. They're a legitimate military target is what they are. Boom. An attack on one is an attack on all. Maybe we get our military in and we destroy their expeditionary force and we sue for peace, and maybe that's enough. Maybe it's okay. You know, we don't all want to commit suicide. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't read Putin's mind. I don't know where he would draw that line. A nuclear war is the greatest murder-suicide in history. No questions asked. We are not that far away from a nuclear war right now. If you think we are, if you have this, oh no, it's good, all these fucking lines have to be crossed. Those lines can be crossed that fast. This could escalate that fast. We bombed like 300 Russian contractors in Syria one time that were moving through an area they were supposed to go to. What if one of our arms shipments goes into an area that isn't expected? Or what if Russia decides that these anti-tank missiles coming in, or these Stinger missiles coming in, or this whatever the fuck coming in is a legitimate military target, and boom. Because if it goes 1 foot over the Ukrainian border into Poland, an attack on one is an attack on all. Congress didn't get a say in this. We don't get a say in this. Nobody gets a say in this. We are then in a shooting war with Russia right there. And that could escalate in minutes, hours, or days into a nightmare that is beyond imagination. And if you think you've imagined it, you haven't. You have not. Unfortunately, I'm really into this kind of thing, and nobody knows. That's the problem. It's never happened before. We've never seen it. We've seen 2 cities with little bitty tiny bombs that were air bursted. They were nice. We were nice about that. We could have ground bursted them and poisoned land for 1,000 years, but we didn't. We air burst them. I'm not getting into the morality of the use of nuclear weapons in World War II. It was fucking 70 years ago, 60 years ago, whatever. I don't care. It happened. It's over. It's been over. Most of people alive weren't alive when it happened. But that's all we've got. That's the only data set we've got. 2 cities with 2 teeny bombs. This thing, these weapons that are sitting in silos, that have been sitting in silos since the Cold War, pointed at each other. They're on a different level than those bombs. What would 100 cities look like with big bombs? And it's not just a bomb. Like, if you're in New York or Atlanta, San Francisco, Washington, any of these big cities, man, you're not going to get a bomb. The current strategy, as last I saw, was like carpet bombing with nukes. If it goes counter value. If it goes counter force, then if you live near a military installation, it's like carpet bombing with nukes, because they got to put multiples in because we have interceptors. This thing could spiral into a nightmare. And if anybody watches this video in 10 years, then cool. This is what one person's 20-minute long random thoughts were. If you're watching it now, I hope you're watching it in 2 weeks. I hope you're watching it in 20 years. Because if this happens, you won't be. If this escalates, you won't be. World War III will be nuclear. I'm not 100% certain once the shots start going back and forth between NATO and Russia. Once we start destroying Russian equipment on the ground, because we could, our Air Force would demolish their Air Force in that column. And their armor. And their ground troops. Once that happens, I don't think they're going to sit around and wait. I don't think they're going to see how much more we can take out. Maybe they sue for peace. Maybe they fold up and say, it was a bad idea, man. We didn't mean to do that. But maybe they say, fuck you. That was easy. It's your kids' lives, guys. It's your grandkids' lives. It's not even your life. It's your babies. It's your grandbabies. It's your unborn grandbabies. Or your unborn babies. It's their lives. That's what they're gambling with right now. I, for one, call me a pacifist, call me whatever. I am a pacifist. I spent 20 years of my life involved in and supporting war. I'm 100% a pacifist. I think war is an atrocity that should be avoided at all cost. All reasonable cost. There is a time when you have to fight. Russia wasn't fucking there at all. Ukraine's there. But at the same time, diplomacy is a give and take. Like, you can't just be absolutist. You got to be able to give something up. And maybe there's some noise out of the region today that maybe both sides got a few things they might be willing to give up. I hope, because every single day that this shit's going on, the world leaders are playing Russian roulette with your fucking kids. So, think about that. If you watch this in the current day, think about it. Alright, dude, it's been 20 minutes. If you've sat with me this long, what the fuck's wrong with you? Peace. Seriously. Peace. Let's hope for peace. We've had enough fucking war.